And I'm Chris. $183. There's nothing special about that. Oh, yeah, it would help if I actually cut that over, wouldn't it?
Activate that.
There we go.
Hopefully, yep, there we go. All right. So, 183, back in the basement.
It's been a long week already, dude.
Yes, it has been. It has been a long week. And, but, you know, we're here. We're alive. It was a beautiful day today.
Once the rain stopped.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it was pouring rain earlier.
Yeah, but this was this morning. I don't know. I mean, did it rain during the day?
Oh, yeah. At least here.
Okay.
Over here, it was pouring up until around, 2 o'clock, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. Okay, yeah. It might have missed us or something. I don't know. I let the dog out about 12:30, and then I took a nap. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, once again, it's beautiful out there now. And, I don't know. Just trying to stay positive in this quarantine world we're living in. Michigan is still doing okay with our recovery. They are. We have seen some increases of COVID-19 cases since we reopened, but it's still not as bad as a lot of the other states are. Florida.
There are some that have had some really, really bad.
Yeah. Florida's talking about going back into full lockdown again. So. Because they've actually had some of the worst.
Arizona and I think Oregon were some of the others that were seeing really bad spikes.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a notification from there was information came out of the Michigan Renaissance Festival main office, just kind of reassuring people that they are planning on opening, but this is what they're still waiting on whether the governor is going to let them or not. But they are still they got big plans for all kinds of things, to help with social distancing.
Huge plans.
Social distancing to and the festival will be very different, needless to say, this season if and when we open. So. We also had on Saturday, on the 20th, was Donald Trump's big to-do in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
The beginning of his rallies and whatnot.
Yeah, it's his rally. Yeah, but he moved it though, because originally
he moved it. It was going to be on Juneteenth, yes, on Friday, and he moved it, and a lot of people are like. There's no way that was not a coincidence, but there was
the fact that he put it in Tulsa. The site of one of the worst racial massacres probably the worst massacre in U.S.
racially based, worst racially based massacre, and one that most of us didn't even fucking know about until the Watchmen.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not one I learned about in school.
No, it's fucked up. It's fucked up about that kind of shit. I understand that you don't want to teach necessarily lean into the negative things when you're in elementary school and maybe junior high, but once you hit high school...
That should have been part of American history.
Absolutely. That kind of stuff. We need to know that kind of stuff, and particularly because that's the thing. Those are classes we have to take.
Yep.
You don't have to take history classes in college unless you're going for that kind of major. So... That's when high school is where we're going to get that stuff.
Yeah, and here,
we don't.
They just like to, we'll just lift this up and sweep that right under there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There, now it's hidden. Nobody will ever see it.
So that's why Juneteenth is actually... Juneteenth is the day that the Emancipation Proclamation was completely enforced. In 1865... when the last of the holdouts, when I think it was Robert E. Lee was finally brought into custody, and when the last of the slaves were freed in Texas, and so that it's meant to commemorate that. Once again, didn't know that myself, until it was brought up. And, and it's funny that Donald Trump made the statement saying, I did more for Juneteenth than anybody else does, because the thing is honestly, I had heard the term, but I wasn't entirely sure what it was until people made a big deal out of the fact that I thought it was, I knew it was a holiday to commemorate, like the civil rights movement, but I didn't know exactly what it commemorated. That the day of when the last of the slaves were finally released. So,
dude, I've been learning so much the last few weeks.
Right,
shit that that I don't remember learning in school.
Right. I gotta admit that him bringing attention to the fact that he's a screaming douchebag and that he wanted to have a rally in Tulsa on a day that's extremely important to Black Americans, and actually should be important.
When there's still all this stuff going on, and he's basically saying that they should shoot protesters and shit.
Unbelievable. Or the fact that he goes, we should stop testing for coronavirus,
and he said that at his rally. He's like, I told my people, we need to slow things down.
Slow down, yeah. The guy's amazing. So,
he's a piece of work, that's for sure.
Oh, God damn. Well, that's the thing, there are a lot of people, and some of the pundits, some of the people that are saying, oh, he's done now, he's done, there's nothing. The fact, the point I was making is that, he didn't fill half of that stadium.
No, it was virtually empty.
Nickelback sold out that stadium twice last year.
The Wiggles sold that stadium out.
Twice. Pink
actually tweeted saying, during the rally, when they were showing stuff on the news, saying, I think I sold that arena out in 5 minutes.
Yeah. They got I think it was something around 6,300 people.
Yeah.
They had originally had like an overflow area where he was going to
there were millions of people going to show up.
Completely, he said they were expecting 1 million people to show up. Okay, first of all, that stadium couldn't hold 10% of that.
Well, that's why they had the overflow area.
Right, exactly. But Michael Moore was there, and he said something to the effect of, don't count this guy out yet. There were people waiting at for camped out for 5 days at the stadium. His fan base is rabidly, doggedly, faithful to him. So even if people didn't show up because they were afraid of getting sick or couldn't make it or whatever, or the fact that hundreds of thousands of TikTok users and millennials and whatever reserved tickets, so that made Donald Trump think he was expecting all that many. Just don't count him out yet. We have to remain vigilant in this whole situation.
Oh yeah. Well, I also love. I watched John Oliver this week, and we've talked about it before. He definitely, it's a comedy show. It is a bent, but he does give some accurate news, and I love what the K-pop fans are doing.
Oh, that was it too. The K-pop.
Yeah. To the hashtag. What was it? White Lives Matter. That's what it was. The hashtag White Lives Matter.
It's disgusting.
They are just bombarding Twitter with K-pop videos using the hashtag White Lives Matter.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's hilarious. I saw a meme picture or whatever of a woman with a fresh tattoo on her arm that said White Lives Matter, and it was like, what the hell? Who does something like that?
Man, that's a nice looking tattoo.
Yeah. It was messed up. She was very...
That looks nice and fresh.
You don't want to... I hate to judge anybody, but, she definitely looks kind of white trashy. But it was just like, good God.
Dude, I'm sorry. If you have a White Lives Matter tattoo, you are trashy.
You are trashy, absolutely. And
you are the highest... You look up in Webster's dictionary under white trash, and you will find a picture of that person.
Exactly. There was another picture circulating of like 3 people wearing like the Confederate flag bathing suits, and they were and the man had obvious swastika tattoos, white power tattoos and stuff. Like his whole back was covered. He had a big old swastika on his fucking and his like calf and whatever. And and somebody had posted, it's like, man, you'd think it'd be hard to find some like if I was a tattoo artist, I wouldn't do swastika tattoos. It doesn't. It's not that complicated of a technology. Tattoo guns. A tattoo machine is. I mean, they make them in prison. They make them in prison. Prison using an old tape recorder and a needle. I mean, anybody can do that. And there's some scumbag. They just like there are scumbag fucking lawyers and scumbag, gas station attendants. Or scumbag tattoo artists that'll tattoo somebody with a bunch of swastikas. Mm-hmm. So, I remember when I was working in the bar industry. There was this one bouncer that I worked with. I always thought was really cool, and he was a really funny guy. He was a Marine, so he was also he was kind of a tough guy, but he was also, I don't know, he was a cool dude. And I found out that he had a tattoo on his back. He had a disguised swastika, basically, on his back. And I went, oh, that's really fucking disappointing, I mean, this was years and years and years ago. I mean, this was probably 20 years ago. But it was still, it was like, oh, man. Because, I mean, he never seemed like a racist. He wasn't like a shithead to the various customers that we had that were people of color. He never showed any kind of racial kind of issues or anything like that, any kind of racist issues. But then he comes to find out that there's a pretty much a disguised. But basically, like these, he was German, so he wanted to have like a tattoo for his German heritage, and he had like these axes were tattooed kind of in the shape of a swastika, and I was like, man, that was so disappointing. I'll tell you one thing. That is one of the things about this whole movement too. At least it has been easier to spot the people we know that turned out to be racist. Mm-hmm. People on Facebook, people on Twitter, and whatever else. I mean, I finally this past week had to finally I had it. I finally had it. And I had to unfriend a couple people that I was just like, nope, this shit is ridiculous. They weren't like, they weren't doing Nazi salutes, but it was way too much in the way of White Lives Matter and hyper conservative bullshit that I was like, no, I don't need that kind of shit on my Facebook feed. I had even unfollowed that person, the one person in particular. I had unfollowed them. And then somebody ended up posting sharing one of their posts. And I'm like, no, that's it. I can't have this guy. I can't associate with this guy anymore. And I have done my best to try and maintain like understanding that other people have different political affiliations than me. But I just, that was it. It was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, and that's the thing. I've said it before. I won't unfriend you over political differences. I will unfriend you over moral differences.
Right. Exactly. Exactamundo.
I'm pinging. Is that your phone?
Well, it's my computer mainly. But yeah, my phone. I forgot to silence my phone. Actually, it is a message from Dave Kish.
Oh.
He is. He's sending me, apparently they're renting a house while their house is being repaired. They're actually renting a house on the lake that broke the dam that flooded their house. And he sent me he goes, weird and kind of amazing. So yeah, oh wow. Okay, so he sent me some pictures. Originally, this house was on lakefront property.
Yeah, now it's not.
And now it's not. Holy shit, yeah. This is nuts.
I've seen some of the pictures from up there.
It's a crazy, Yeah, it looks like there's like a deck with a hot tub, and but yeah, it looks like it used to come right up to the water, and there's no water anymore. This is fucking nuts, man. But that's really cool though. At least Dave is, they're doing better.
Yep.
And Dave, we are, like I said, our hearts go out to you. We did our best to share the information about your plight. I myself, made a small donation, and I'm just glad that you guys are doing better, and that things are looking up. Hopefully, the house will be repaired in as quickly, in short order, so that you guys can get back to home and get back to rebuilding your lives, because man, that was messed up. It was really messed up.
Yep. All right. Well, what are you drinking?
Let's get into this. I'm drinking a great cider from it's called Mad Farmer. I know it's backwards in my thing here. Mad Farmer.
It's not for me, so.
Oh, it's not? Okay, it's backwards on the feed that I've come back to me. It's a hard cider. It's from Mad Farmer. It's in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh.
It's a hard cider with Montmorency, cherry, blackberry, blueberry, and raspberry. It's kind of similar to the Triple Jam, but from Blake's, but it's got an extra berry in here, and it is lovely. This is a really nice cider. It's 6% ABV. It's not cheap, like a lot of these smaller, like cideries and meaderies and stuff like that. You are going to pay for it. But man, it is really a really good cider. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of middle of the road. I think it starts sweet and ends sour, but ends tart, not sour, but tart. Try that. Stop. But it's a really nice, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. This is the second one I've had. Not today, but
I was gonna say, ooh, you're really going for it tonight.
It's really very nice. Highly recommend it. The cherries are a very strong flavor.
Man, he is loud.
Yeah, he is loud. I'll close the door. Hang on. Let's try that. Maybe that'll help. It just gets really warm in here.
Oh, I know.
You're in the basement.
It's still
There's
warm
no
down
way
here
that
right
place
now.
gets warm. Crazy. No, go on. I didn't close the door all the way. Go on. He's like sitting at the door just staring at me. Pushed it open. Anyway, sorry. So 4-berry pie cider. Great cider from Mad Farmer out of Detroit. Established in 18, so it's a new cidery.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them before.
Yeah, check them out, man. This is some good stuff. Mad Farmer. What are you drinking?
I am drinking B43 from New Orthodox. There's the New Orthodox India Pale Ale. It's actually Old Nation is the name of the brewery, who I believe is out of Williamston, Michigan. It is a Brute IPA, and there's the can right there.
Oh, I've seen that at the store.
Yeah, they're the same ones that make M43. So this is B43 because it's the Brute version. It is 7% ABV, 65 IBUs. B43 is meant to be clearer, juicy, and very dry. Malt, pills, boil hops, Calypso, Amarillo, Citra, dry hops, Citro, Amarillo, and Simcoe. 3 grams of carbs, no residual sugar. Enjoy. And it is an odd looking color. It's kind of it's not like bright like a pale yellow like a lot of the Brutes I've had. This one actually came out a little like tan.
Yeah.
It has a very citrus aromatic aroma to it.
Sure.
And it is very dry. It is one of those that you get a lot of flavor, but then it finishes really super dry. to the point where you're almost like, do I need water now? I mean, it does finish really dry, but it actually is a little refresh. It's kind of refreshing too. I'm gonna take another sip here. It is not my favorite brute. As a matter of fact, Old Nation made another one in their Woodshed series that I think was a much better brute than this one that I reviewed a few months ago. But I mean, I'd give this about 3 bottle caps. It's right in the it's right in the middle. It's not bad. I mean, if you want a brute IPA, it'll do you.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It does have a lot of that. It's very citrusy, and then it finishes kind of like with the a little bit of the orange peel bitterness, and finishes really dry. It doesn't really the citrusiness doesn't really linger. You do get that lingering bitterness of a lot of IPAs. So, but yeah, if you like the brute style, which I believe is actually made a lot of times with like a champagne yeast, so they can get it down to like no sugars. It'll use up everything in there and it'll make it super dry. This doesn't actually tell what yeast they use, but yeah, it's not bad. So B43 by Old Nation, part of the New Orthodox India Pale Ale series.
Awesome, and of course, like once again, Mad Farmer. You want the 4-berry pie cider for that sweet with a little bit of tart on it. Pretty good. So.
We had a little bit of sad news over the last.
Had some sad news, yeah. Right? Yeah, a couple of things. Right. So first was Ian Holm, Sir Ian Holm.
Yep.
He was known besides for many things, but he was known he played Bilbo Baggins, the elder Bilbo Baggins, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit 10 years later. He was also, he did a lot of stuff. He was in Alien. He was in Fifth Element. The guy had a storied career, and he was knighted, and he passed away. The thing is the man. Wow, surprised. It's really surprising sometimes when you see an actor that to look a certain way because you saw them in movies or TV or whatever for a long time, and then you see them. And, like, after you haven't seen them for a while or whatever, and they look a lot older. Yeah. Like, a lot older. And you're like, holy crap, what happened, Now, apparently, Ian Holm had been struggling against Parkinson's in his later years. So, and that'll age you. That's the thing, you get some of these older age diseases and whatnot, and it definitely can accelerate the process. And so that the last couple of pictures I saw of him where he was a very old man in a wheelchair, and but the man made it to
88
years old. He had a long, an incredible life and an incredible career, and so we should raise a glass to the man. And so Ian Holm, another wonderful journey.
Yes. Well, and the other one that passed away was Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, no idea. I had no idea he was as old as he was. He died. He was 80. And Joel Schumacher, for those of you guys maybe don't remember whatnot, he was the producer and director of these 3rd and 4th Batman movies.
He's the one that introduced the nipples.
Right. He was in all. A lot of people would say kind of ruined all of the good work that Tim Burton did to kind of spotlight and show Batman as the dark vigilante that he is. Because, he started with Batman Forever, kind of making things a little more bright, a little more crazy, and a little more campy. But people really liked that movie because Jim Carrey was in it, and Jim Carrey was riding high. It was, and Val Kilmer was actually a pretty good Batman. So, overall, Batman Forever was, I liked it. And a lot of people liked it.
That wasn't, that wasn't the one with Jim Carrey, was it?
Yeah, Phil.
Okay.
Batman Forever was Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Unfortunately, the follow-up, Batman and Robin, with George Clooney as Batman, was easily one of the worst superhero movies ever made.
Yeah.
Even though it had a star-studded cast, you had George Clooney as Batman. You figure you got George Clooney in the Batsuit. You figure you're printing money right there. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. You had Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. Her Poison Ivy costume is still considered today one of the more iconic, like, supervillain, comic book costumes. Poison Ivy doesn't really wear that costume anymore, but she wore a similar one for a very, very long time. And honestly, a lot of people dug.
You had Alicia Silverstone as Batman.
And Alicia, yeah. The wild thing is, and there's some details about that. Arnold Schwarzenegger, too, it was the first time he'd ever played a bad guy, and a lot of people felt that the villains in the movie were way more entertaining than Batman. And Schwarzenegger,
they destroyed Bane in that movie.
Bane was...
That was horrid.
Horrible. So anyway, overall, the movie was really terrible. Joel Schumacher, I mean, like, even the whole Batgirl thing, shoehorning Alicia Silverstone, making her Alfred's niece, and they had filmed the most of the movie, and then the producers basically, and I think the studio basically said, you know what, we need something else. And they wanted, the main reason they put her in the movie, they filmed all of her scenes pretty much after they had filmed the rest of the movie. The main reason they wanted her in it was so that they could have three Bat characters running at the camera at the end with capes flying in the background. So she was kind of put in as an afterthought. It was terrible. It's terrible. Schumacher was criticized because he was a huge fan of the 66 TV show. And
dude, I'll tell you, in that last movie, I expected the Bam and the Pow to show up at any second.
I know, exactly. It was very campy.
That campy.
He was a huge fan of the old classic TV show, so his preference was to pay more homage to that. And he started a little bit with Batman Forever, but then went whole hog in the second one. The fourth, the Batman and Robin. I believe, I can't remember for sure, but I think he was a co-producer in the first movie, and then he was a producer in Batman Forever, and then he was a producer and director in Batman and Robin.
He was also one of the costume designers in Batman.
He was costume designer.
Because I didn't realize that's actually where he got his start.
Right. Joel Schumacher was openly gay in the industry when it was still pretty hard to be openly gay. His entire career, apparently, he was very out about his sexuality. So even, like, granted it's Hollywood, but in the 60s and 70s and shit like that, it was still something people stayed in the closet about, in the 80s too. So, but he was, like, apparently open and out his entire career. So there's a lot of credit where credit's due there. And to his credit, he eventually, a couple years ago, got online and apologized for Batman and Robin. He basically apologized to the fans. He apologized to everybody, saying, hey, I made a mistake. I went in a direction and that didn't work and kind of ruined things for a while. We didn't have, it took Christopher Nolan's
Dark Knight trilogy.
That Dark Knight trilogy to kind of wash that kind of that horrible taste out of our mouths from that film. In fact, if you watch, there's a series on Netflix. I might have mentioned it before. The series on Netflix called Everything Wrong With, and they will pick apart a movie and show you, like, within 15, 20 minutes at the most, all of the little gaffes and flubs and continuity errors and things that are wrong with the movie. The one for Batman and Robin is like 45 minutes long, and I think it might be a two-parter. It's one of the longest ones because it's got so many things wrong with it. Honestly, if you've never seen the movie, watch Everything Wrong With Batman and Robin, and you'll get the gist. It'll be fine. The sad thing was too is that I think Clooney would have made a good Batman if he had had a good script. I think he could have probably
done it. Yeah.
Yeah. He had the look. He had the chops. I think he could have done a decent Batman if he had just had a good script. So, anyway, so Joel Schumacher. I can't remember. We should probably look up on IMDb maybe what else he has done besides Batman. But that was the thing that he was kind of most.
Oh, yeah, I saw a bunch of the stuff that he had done, and I mean, it's so much stuff. It's crazy how much stuff he's done.
Okay. He directed the Phantom of the Opera film.
Yes, which he got a lot of flack for.
Yeah, he certainly did.
He did Lost Boys.
That's right.
He did Lost Boys. He did Sing Almost Fire, which is one of the most iconic movies of the 80s. He did Falling Down.
He did 8mm.
Yeah. That.
Flawless with De Niro. That was actually a pretty good movie, Flawless. Let's see. The Incredible Shrinking Woman. Interesting. St. Elmo's Fire. Yeah, I didn't realize that he directed The Lost Boys. Holy shit, he certainly did. Flatliners.
Oh, yeah, Flatliners.
He did some short videos, too, like video. Yeah. Batman Forever. He was, he did direct Batman Forever, and he directed Batman and Robin. So basically, I think what had happened is probably the producers must have kind of reeled him in a little bit on Batman Forever, and then on Batman and Robin, he went whole hog. Tigerland, Bad Company, Phone Booth. Okay, so he has done a...
He actually also did The Client and A Time to Kill, which are two Grisham adaptations.
Sure did. And Trespass. He directed a couple episodes of House of Cards in 2013. That was the last thing he had done for that. He had written some stuff. He wrote St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
He wrote the screenplay for Phantom of the Opera. Produced a lot of these movies. It looks like he wasn't a producer on Batman. Okay. Costume designs, a bunch of them. Okay, so yeah, the guy did a lot, and good or bad, he made some pretty resonant movies. It's just too bad that a couple of movies he's most known for in the geek community are, one in particular is considered one of the worst comic book adaptations of all time. But anyway, he made it to 80, and
but he did do one of my favorite vampire movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit, The Lost Boys, one of my favorite movies of all time. So, we'll raise a glass to him. Once again, Joel Schumacher. Raise a drink to you. Enjoy meeting the Hollywood elite in heaven. Are you kidding? The Hollywood elite isn't in heaven, man. They're having a good time in hell right now.
Well, speaking of the old Batmans, though, we got some rumors that Michael Keaton is in talks with DC to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne, possibly in the Flash movie.
Right, that's what it is. In the Flash movie, they're saying that the Flash movie will introduce the multiverse.
Yeah, they're going to do Flashpoint, but they're going to completely change it.
Right.
What I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's. I don't think he's going to play. He's not going to play like Thomas Wayne in the Flash.
He's supposed to be that Thomas Wayne character, but as Bruce Wayne.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
From what I was reading, they are saying he's going to be Bruce Wayne. And what they're saying also is that what they're actually talking to him about is a multi-picture deal to where he's going to be a Nick Fury-like character for the DCEU.
Not as Bruce Wayne, though.
As Bruce Wayne.
As Bruce Wayne?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so we'll see. For those of you guys who don't know, the Flashpoint story was basically the idea that the Flash went back in time to save his mother.
Yep.
She had been killed by a Flash villain going back in time, and it had fucked up his life. So he went back in time to save her, and it's a very much kind of what a lot of the Flash TV show is based on.
Yeah, because they did Flashpoint in what, season 3?
Season 2, actually. The end of I think it was the end of season 2 they did Flashpoint.
Oh yeah, so the Flashpoint season was actually season 3 because it's dealing with all the other stuff.
And he fixes it. It was only the first couple of episodes. But so anyway,
timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Right. In the second in Flashpoint, the Flash goes back in time He saves his mother, and it shows, though, that sometimes the simplest things can have that vast rippling effect on the time continuum. And because his mother never dies, he never becomes the Flash. But there are a bunch of other things that happen as well, one of which being Bruce Wayne's parents weren't killed. Instead, Bruce Wayne and his mother was killed, and Thomas Wayne, his father, survived the attack. Thomas Wayne ends up becoming a different version of Batman, and becoming a violent, gun-toting, killing Batman, and which was interesting because he'd been in his 50s, as in modern day as the Batman. Now Barry Allen, the Flash, went back and fixed it. He changed it back, and in so doing, when he changed from Flashpoint back to the normal DC universe, when he fixed Flashpoint, it created the New 52, which was the big, huge thing that they did, about 8 years ago now, maybe 10 years ago, where they basically went to a back-to-basics approach with the DC universe. And it was Dan DiDio's, the former publisher and editor-in-chief of DC Comics. It was his big baby at the time, too. That was his big thing. And it's had some successes, and people would argue about its success and whatnot. But overall, it did at least sell a lot of comic books. So anyway, they have touched on Flashpoint in a number of different kind of things, like I said, the Flash TV show, and the new Flash movie that is supposed to sort of spin out of the DCEU that they have been trying to set up, the DC Cinematic Universe. It's going to introduce the multiverse, and Wally West could meet an aged Batman, which is basically Michael Keaton playing Bruce Wayne again. Now, people have been talking about that for a long time, and I think it's a great idea, because then if we get that, we could potentially get Batman Beyond, a live-action version.
Right, which I think would be cool. But in Flashpoint, Martha didn't get killed, did she?
Oh, no, you're right.
She became the Joker.
She became the Joker. My bad. You're correct. Bruce did end up dying.
Yes, Bruce got killed, and Thomas becomes Batman, Martha becomes Joker.
Yeah, she goes crazy out of guilt and becomes the Joker. So it's even doubly more tragic. He doesn't just lose his wife and child. He loses his son, but then loses his wife to madness, and then ends up having to put her down eventually. Mm-hmm. I think he does end up killing her finally. I mean, at one point, Barry Allen even brings a letter to Bruce from this alternate timeline from Thomas Wayne saying, "Don't do this. Don't be like me. Try and just be you, and be don't be a vigilante. Don't be a monster, or whatever. Get over it." Basically, telling him. And then eventually, more recently, that Thomas Wayne from that timeline did visit the standard DC universe and had a big, huge confrontation with Batman. And it was actually a pretty cool storyline that Tom King wrote, where he basically had to confront a twisted version of his father, and it was messed up, but it was pretty cool storyline overall.
I mean, we've talked about it before that both of us would love to see a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, and I think that's what they should do more so than what they're talking about here. I mean, I think if they're going to do that and introduce him as an alternate universe Batman, and then they want to take off in that and do the Batman Beyond stuff as a separate thing from the DCEU, I'd be okay with that. Yeah, me too. I mean, Michael Keaton kind of disappeared for a while. He was one of those actors that kind of did minor stuff for quite a while. His career kind of petered out for a bit, but then he did things like he did Birdman, and he did Spike. He did the first. He did Far From Home. One of the dumbest fucking villains in Marvel. Yeah, cool. Oh, absolutely. He did. The Vulture was. Well, I was curious how the hell they were going to make that one work, because the Vulture is
he's an old guy.
Yeah.
He's an old guy. I mean, he's like, specifically, he's an old guy in power armor. And they took a guy who was, later middle age and made him a fucking badass. And
I like the way they did it too. I honestly like the way that they did it, in that he was basically using the alien tech that was left over and figured out a way to manipulate it and create his wings.
Yeah, I like that he was. I like it that he was a family man.
Mm-hmm.
That he was doing it essentially to like support his family.
Mm-hmm.
That the government and whatnot had come in and kind of screwed him out of a contract, And what was also really cool was the fact that it showed that he was smart enough. I mean, granted, he did have a guy helping him and stuff, but he was also smart enough to take this alien technology and reconfigure it and create something new. That was really cool. That was one of the important parts about that character, is that he's a scientist. And, a lot of Spider-Man's villains are, smart, sciencey types, So
that's because Peter is.
Right, exactly. And so it was pretty cool. Like I said, I've always liked Michael Keaton. Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies.
Beetlejuice is awesome. I love Beetlejuice.
One of my favorite movies of all time. And Michael Keaton had so much going for him. Like, he was this great comedic actor, Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice and whatever. And then he goes and he shows that he can also be serious with some of these other serious movies that he had done. And then he did Batman. And people were just like, I mean, he really shocked people, surprised them. And myself included, even me at that age, I was like, wait a minute. The guy who just played Beetlejuice is going to be Batman? Well,
yeah, and I'm like, Mr. Mom is going to be Batman? I don't think so.
Right, exactly. And
he
did.
Gung-Ho and all those comedies. Right. And I'm like, I just don't see it. And he was way better than I expected him to be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, granted, a lot of the physicality was in the suit and everything, too. I mean, he's not like this, big dude and everything. But they've proven that that's what it takes for a Batman movie. They look at the actor before they look at the guy. It's the actor, not the body, And I mean, you look at Christian Bale. Christian Bale's he's in great shape. He was in great shape to play Batman, but he's not some huge bodybuilder or something. He's not.
Christian Bale does
physically intimidating.
Does body metamorphosis for roles.
Exactly. If you see, I think it's the Machinist. I think is the movie.
Yeah, that's the one I was.
I
was trying to think of what it was.
He lost so much weight. He'd gotten into an anorexic state, and it was fucked up, really fucked up. And then if you see the movie Vice, some of that is a bodysuit, but he gained quite a bit of weight to play those characters. The character in Vice, Dick Cheney. He played Dick Cheney. So anyway, I'm excited if they can make this happen. Michael Keaton is. I mean, he was responsible for making Batman, the coolest fucking motherfucker on the block when it came to superheroes. He was one of those guys responsible for it back in the late 80s. And, I mean, we're paying homage to him all the time with everything, with every Batman movie that comes after, and video game and everything else. So, I hope that they're able to make this happen. I just hope that they are able to make it cool and not make it fucking dumb. I would rather see him as like Bruce Wayne, as like an old guy that can't do it anymore and is directing his protege instead of like being a violent version of Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne, version of Bruce Wayne. So we'll see. Still,
I have low expectations for the DC movies at this point.
If you keep them low, you're not disappointed when they're great.
Exactly.
Look at Shazam. Look at Aquaman.
I keep hoping they're gonna prove me wrong, and they have with Aquaman and Shazam and even Wonder Woman. There were a lot of things I didn't like about Wonder Woman. I still enjoyed it as a movie.
Still was a good overall. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good story overall. And yes, I loved Aquaman and Shazam, but those were both so different than every other movie that they've done.
Well, because they weren't
fun. They were much more Marvel-esque.
Well, they weren't dipped in the brush of Zack Snyder constantly.
Yeah. Zack Snyder is a dark motherfucker.
He paints in dark grays, man. He does. Although I will say I have liked what he's done overall. There were some things that I didn't like, but I did like Man of Steel. I did like BVS. I wanted to see where he was going, so I am excited, as we talked about, to see the Snyder cut of Justice League. I am excited to see what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and see what his initial vision was. So hopefully we'll see that. But I don't know, the Flash movie, the problem is it's been stalled. It's been started and stopped a few times, so I'm a little worried about that one.
It's been recast. It's been
recast.
The script has been changed.
The writers have come and gone.
I think they're on their third or fourth director now.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe they still have the same writers, but yeah, the director they haven't been able to settle on a director. Finally, thankfully, the kid, what's his name?
Ezra Miller
is still on board. I actually like him.
I've heard that he's a nightmare, though.
He's a big comic fan too. He is a comic fan, and he's a big, also he's a huge Harry Potter nerd too. It's really funny. Which he got it because he got into the Harry Potter films. The Fantastic
Crimes of Grindelwald. Fantastic Beasts. That's what it is.
But so yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried about the Flash film, but hopefully they can make it really cool. I mean, he even showed up on an episode, during the crisis on the Flash.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. There was one of those things that tried to tie in all of the universes and stuff on the Crisis on Infinite Earths special that they did, the 5-episode thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Things are when it comes to the DCEU. It's DC Cinematic.
DCEU is what they call
DCEU.
it.
Yeah.
It's the extended universe.
Extended. Okay, that's what it is. They
or entertainment universe, something like that.
They've made some mistakes, but hopefully they can turn it around. And I think it's like, I guess we're just so used to the consistency of the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU has been consistently really good. Almost every single movie was at least a B for better. These movies have not resonated as much. They haven't made as much money. They haven't been as popular commercially. So, I think that's what we're used to. We're used to seeing these grand superhero vistas on the big screen, and just DC hasn't been able to deliver. And arguably, some of their heroes are grander. Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. They've been around a little longer than some of those heroes. In fact, the only one that can boast a comparable pedigree is Captain America out of the Marvel Comics characters. So I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see some good things coming up. They're learning from their mistakes. I think they are. I think they are learning from their mistakes. They learned with Aquaman and Shazam. They learned the mistakes that they had made with like Justice League and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm really excited. Looking forward to Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, once again, we have to wait
if it ever actually
October.
comes out. I mean, they keep moving it back.
Well, the AMC theaters are, the theaters are planning on opening. Yeah. In fact, I did find it to be really...
plans on reopening July 15th. I got a notice on my app. They actually plan on reopening July 15th. They said they're going to have all the stuff in place everyone's being trained on hygiene and taking care of the theaters, and they're going to have lower crowds and all that, but they are bringing everyone back, and they're
also
reopen.
Requiring masks, because like last week they had said they weren't going to require masks for the audience, and then like the following day reversed themselves because of fan outcry.
It didn't actually say that. The problem is that it's like Renee and I just went out to a pub for the first time since all this hit on Sunday. We went out to watch the Chelsea FC game over at Royal Oak Brewing. Royal Oak's doing a great job. They've got all their high top tables are moved out. They've got tables spread out all over inside the restaurant. They've got everything measured out. They only have so many seats at the bar. All that. They're doing everything the way that they should. Did we maintain social distance like we should have? Probably not, because we're a bunch of friends that get together to watch these games. And
right.
But we did go up there, and yeah, I wore a mask coming in, and then I sit down and take the mask off because, I mean, as they put it, that's how the beer gets in.
Well, yes, and that's
the thing.
Makes sense.
Theaters make all their money off of concessions, so
for the most part,
you need to have a way to get the concessions into your body.
Right?
So I mean, you're not going to be able to wear a mask when you're in the theater, and there's no way that they're going to be able to even police that, because once the lights go out, people are just going to take their masks off anyway.
Correct. I think it is something like 75% of the profit of a movie theater is made on the concession stand, which is the reason why it's so goddamn expensive. Drives me fucking buggers, man.
And that's true. CD just said, it's in the air. You're in one room for 2 hours plus. Masks don't prevent stuff coming in unless you're talking about an N95.
Say what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Masks don't stop you from getting things. They stop you from spreading things.
Spreading it,
is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Outdoor movie theater investment. Anyone? Yeah. The drive-ins are popping up all over.
It's Shazam was a Mitch. It's Shazam. Shazam, not Shazam. Oh, terrible.
Hey, it's just a typo, man.
Terrible. It's an acronym. You gotta get it right.
Yeah, but it's still a typo. That's all. Whatever.
Whatever. All right. So moving on.
Nerd.
That's true. Yes, exactly. Duh.
Nerd. You guys got called a nerd again too.
Nerdy. All right. So moving on.
Yeah.
We.
Grammar nerd, no less. Yeah.
It's an acronym. All right.
Yeah,
so
for?
Coming up, Shazam.
Yeah.
Let's see. Give me a sec.
Yeah, come on. It's an acronym. You got to know this if you're going to be.
All right, motherfucker. The wisdom of Solomon,
yep.
The strength of Hercules, yep. The stamina of Atlas,
yep.
The power of Zeus, the speed of the power of Achilles. It's the power of Zeus, the stamina of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury.
It's the stamina of, or endurance of Atlas, one of the two.
It's the endurance of Atlas, something like that. The endurance of Atlas, but it's Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, and Mercury. Got to get that shit right. The fucked up thing is for each of the couple of different heroes, there are different gods and or like mythic beings or whatever that empower each of them. So like Black Adam has the same Shazam, but they're different gods that empower him. And I think Mary Marvel too. In the original comics, Mary Marvel was empowered by goddesses under that.
Well, and what's kind of funny for me, it's always been funny for the whole Shazam thing, is the mixture of gods and pantheons, as well as one that's not a god. Solomon wasn't a god.
Solomon was not a god. No. Well, neither was Achilles.
Well, Achilles was a titan, though. At least.
No, Achilles was a hero.
No,
he was Achilles. No, he was a hero. He was the son of Zeus.
That's right. You're right. I was thinking of somebody else. But yeah, mm-hmm. Achilles was a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So, and arguably, I mean, Hercules was a demigod. So I mean, it's like
demigod. Atlas was a titan.
Atlas was a titan, correct.
Zeus was a Greek god, and Mercury was a Roman god.
Correct. Well, whatever you can do to make the acronym work, I guess. You know. So anyway, moving on though. So Coming up end of this week, and actually in 36 hours, I'm looking at the site right now, is Doom Patrol Season 2 on DC Streaming.
Oh, yeah, I got to finish Season 1 still.
Oh, man. Guys, Season 1 was fucking wacky, but one of the coolest things I've seen come out of the comic book industry. It was this great, really cool, like translation from comic to television show. It was surreal, and that's the way the Doom Patrol has been depicted over the last 25 some odd. Oh, traffic jam, nice. It's been it was like I said, the Doom Patrol comic was very surreal, pretty much since the 90s. And they did a really great job depicting that on the show, and it's really great. Brendan Fraser as Robot Man, he does the voice, and then they're in flashback. He plays Cliff Steele, and just great job. I mean, the whole cast is really great. Matt Bomer does the voice of Negative Man, and then once again also plays him in flashback before the accident. So just some really great stuff. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend. Check it out. The first season was really, really cool. The second season, it looks like it's only 9 episodes, which is a weird number to stop at, unless maybe they're doing the first 9 and then they'll do if they do 13 total, then maybe they'll do the next 5 after a break or something. Sometimes they do that.
But normally, if you see on IMDb that there's 9 listed, that's all they're doing.
I don't know. I didn't look on IMDb. I'm just looking at the page here, and it shows 9 episodes. But it's a really cool show, so highly recommend it. Check that out. Also, like I said, Chris and I have been watching Harley Quinn. We didn't watch the latest episode yet, so we will be doing that soon, and we'll get up to date on that. But man, once again, an incredible show, and man, it's another one of those examples. And I've been watching. We've been seeing a lot of adult-oriented cartoon in the last, particularly in the last couple of years, there's been a lot more. I mean, The Simpsons started as being a more kind of, family, adult-oriented kind of thing. A show that the kids could like, but the adults appreciate. You got Family Guy that came along, or The Simpsons first, the Family Guy, we got to put South Park in there first, and then Family Guy, and it was getting more and more kind of irreverent and adult. Now we've got shows like Rick and Morty, and we've got BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman. And,
BoJack Horseman on that.
You've got Big Mouth.
You've also got F is for Family.
F is for Family. Which I was just reading about that guy. I didn't realize that I've never seen his stand-up. The guy that does F is for Family.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, yeah. But he... I guess he rags on Star Wars a lot in his comedy.
Oh, yeah?
But yet, he's actually in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he is. He's totally in the Bill Burr, yeah, F is for Family. I actually just binged the new season. They just put it on.
I started watching the first season, and I'm like, wow, man, that's growing up in the 70s.
Right. Well, see, I mean, you can really... I remember, 78, 79... Those are some of my earliest years I can remember, because I was born in 74. You were born in 70, right?
Yes, I was born in 70.
70. So you have a much, probably even better kind of memory of that, because the show F is for Family takes place in 1973 to 1974. And I can sort of remember that stuff and remember some of it. I would imagine you have even a better kind of memory of it than I do. And it's messed up. It's a parody, and it's very much kind of a social commentary kind of thing about how fucked up things were in the 70s at times. But honestly, my point about this is we've got all these adult themed cartoons, right? These cartoons that are comedic, but are also heavy with character development and kind of some serious issues. F is for Family deals... Archer. Yeah, there's another one. Archer, way silly stuff, though, that's for sure. But F is for...
It's so fucking funny.
Oh, my God. F is for Family, though, deals with, honestly, childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. And fucking up your kids and, being a bad parent or a good parent or trying to do the best you can, it's a lot of family issues, a lot of issues about like taking care, like responsibility of an adult and things like that. I was actually doing the math too, trying to figure out. I'm like, the main character on that show, Frank, is like probably in his mid to late 30s, in the mid 70s. That would put him about 15 to almost 20 years older than my parents, because my dad in 74 was like 22 or 23, 22, I think, when I was born. So
that puts him right about the same age as my parents, because my dad was 28 when I was born.
In 1970. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it puts it closer to your parents' age. Mm-hmm. And I think like my parents probably would have, and Frank talks about going to Korea and fighting in the Korean War. And my grandfather fought in the Korean War. So it's interesting like how time frames are changed. What are you laughing at?
What Wings Cook just put in there? Bloody Mary, full of vodka. Blessed are you among cocktails. Pray for me now at the hour of my death, which I hope is soon. Amen.
That's funny. Was that from Archer?
Yes, that's from Archer.
Yeah, that's so. So anyway, like I said, we're seeing all these cartoons that still are dealing with some really heavy things, some really serious issues, and then they deal with them by using comedy and making it relatable through the comedy. I mean, same thing with Rick and Morty. What comedy's
supposed to do.
Exactly. Quite true. Rick and Morty is extremely irreverent and fucked up and nuts and weird and wild. But a lot of it ultimately is about Rick Sanchez and how fucked up he is and the trauma he puts his family through and how he's trying to get better, how he's trying to do better. So yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving that about this stuff. So, BoJack Horseman, same thing. You know, he plays a celebrity, a guy who had been on a sitcom, and how his career kind of petered out after a long time, after a while.
Ding dong.
And how he's it's Wubba Lubba. Wait a minute. Well, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub.
Yeah, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, actually you're right. Archer does deal with mother issues, that's for sure. So I'm loving that. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of these cartoons that really still make people think about things and think about life and think about like how we develop and how we've changed and all those things that make for good writing. Mm-hmm. Besides the fact that it's just
I'll tell you what.
So it's not just a cartoon.
I gotta say, Big Mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Is an uncomfortable show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the whole puberty monster thing is just, but I'm like, oh my God, that's what it's like, though.
Yeah, specifically Big Mouth is about being a teenager and being a
preteen,
and going through going through puberty. And yeah, there's definitely points on that show where you're just like, oh, yikes. So, but really fucking funny. I mean, some fucked up stuff. What's this? John Mulaney is a character and a writer on that show, and a couple other comedians that are really, really kind of hot and good right now. I'm blanking on the guy's name. The guy Kroll, Steve Kroll, or no, Kroll. It's so he did the Kroll show. Is it Steve Kroll or is it? No, it's not Steve. Is that Dave? I can't remember now. I mean,
I'm looking at it right now because I don't know. I don't know the names of the people on there. Nick Kroll.
It's Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll,
John Mulaney.
Yeah, Nick Kroll, who was on The League. That's where I know him from.
Sure.
John Mulaney. What the hell is his actual last name? Because it's fucking huge. Jason Mantzoukas.
Mantzoukas, yeah.
Who is also on The League.
And he's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine too sometimes.
Jenny Slate, Jesse Klein.
Yeah, there's some just the talent on that show is incredible. But fucking Big Mouth. It definitely there are times when you're just like, yikes. I mean, like one girl gets her period and she's like wearing white shorts or something like that at a school field trip to the Statue of Liberty too. So there's like she can't get away, can't get around it, you know.
Yeah. And then she gets her puberty monster too.
Yeah. Yeah, and her puberty monster is way different from the male one. Yeah, it's the show is really fucking good. So what else? What else were we talking about?
Well, last Friday, the biggest game release of the year, when Last of Us 2 came out, which I have not gotten. I still haven't finished Last of Us. I got frustrated with it and was going to throw my controller through the screen, so I stopped playing it for a little while. But it's getting great reviews. It was the largest game release, or the biggest game release of the year in the first weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is definitely... Last of Us is not an easy game.
No. Not just in gameplay. It's heavy, man. The subject matter is rough. It is a tough game. But also an amazing game. Just fucking fantastic. The Ashley Johnson, she got a BAFTA award for her performance. Mm-hmm. The wild thing is quite often, sometimes it's interesting how they do that. Sometimes the character looks just like the voiceover actor. And sometimes nothing like them. And she mocapped that too. She did the mocap, she did the voice for it and everything. And Ellie, her character, looks nothing like her. It's just kind of funny. But yeah, The Last of Us, and it originally came out for the PlayStation 3. They remastered it for the PlayStation 4. It is absolutely fantastic. One of the best games I've ever played. Couldn't put it down.
And see, I could easily put it down because it got frustrating.
Oh, it did. There were times when I wanted to huck my fucking controller at the TV too, but there were even times when there was a couple of times there's once in the game where I finally did have to lower the difficulty level to get through it. I was finally like, you know what?
There's one section that I'm in. I mean, I'm still early on in the game, and I'm like, if this is what the early part of the game is like, I don't even want to get to the later parts of the game because it's just going to be nothing but frustration. Because it's like, there's so many of those fucking fungoid zombies around that there's no way to get through this that I can see.
There is a way. I guarantee it. It's one of those things too that I appreciate too. It's realistic too. You take a shot, you get shot. It's still a video game, but you got to be careful. You got to make sure you got to carefully. You got to hang on to those bandages and whatnot, because if you get hurt, you don't get too many shots. It's like with some shooting games where you can take 30 shots and you're fine. You don't die, but no, you take maybe like 3 and you're dead. And still headshots are always immediate. There's not as many, you don't as often. Yeah, oh for sure. So just a fantastic game though, and yeah, it was huge. I got a friend that like yesterday posted that they finished it.
Holy crap! Shit!
Yeah. I was like, wow, you didn't waste any fucking time, did you?
They didn't do anything over the weekend other than play that game from the time they got up until the time they went to bed.
Yeah.
Well, until the time they passed out is really what it was.
And that was probably, they were probably marathoning like 16-hour days on that game. Which, unfortunately, I've been doing a bit lately myself. And
I used to do that on like EverQuest and stuff, but but now I'm like, nah. I mean... There was one night recently I played MechWarrior for about 6 hours and I didn't realize how long I'd been on there, but it was a blast. But I went to get up and I'm like, oh, I'm really sick now.
Yeah, I do that with City Heroes. I do that with some of... I do that with a lot of my video games, actually. I'll suddenly be 5-6 hours in and not realize it. Some of the sim games, like Civilization, are really good about that. You can... 12 hours could be gone.
For me, it's a lot of the RPG games.
Yes.
Even like Witcher or any of those, it's like I don't feel like I've done anything, and I look up and it's been 3 fucking hours.
Well, yeah,
I'm like, wait, I haven't done shit.
Mm-hmm. If it's a really engaging storyline that keeps you focused. And then on top of it too, if it's really grinding, if there's a lot of like shit to do, man, like I just started playing Divinity 2, and because I wanted to get into that because they're the ones making the new Baldur's Gate 3, the company that made Divinity. What is it called again? Hang on. It's Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I started playing it the other day, and I suddenly, I started playing it kind of late. I was like...
some of the Critical Role cast does voices in that, don't they?
They do... they did stuff on Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah, I thought they did Original Sin, too.
They might have. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But I started playing it like midnight. I was like, I'm just going to create a character. I'm going to see how it plays and whatever else. And holy shit, it's a great game. It's very engaging. I'd say it's better than the first one, for sure. The first one was pretty good, but Divinity Original Sin 2 is really fucking good. And that's the same company that's making Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, I started playing it at midnight, and I at one point looked at the window, and the sun was starting to come up, and I'm like, "Fuck! How did that happen?" Just you lose yourself, and I lost myself playing Wolfenstein. I got finished the main game, and now I've got the 3 DLCs to play, and then I'm done with that part. Then there's the expansion, which is like takes place like 20 years later, 30 years later. But man, once again, bloody game, a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. Killing Nazis is always an entertaining endeavor.
Oh, is that what you're doing in that?
In Wolfenstein, yeah.
Oh, in Wolfenstein. I thought you were talking about
Wolfenstein. You killed. No, in Divinity, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy setting.
That's what I thought.
But it was
like,
yeah. No, and it's really cool because you can. They have a bunch of preset characters you can choose from. Or you can make your own, and I make my own.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't do the. None of the Critical Role guys are in that.
No.
No, I think they were just pushing it on the show when it came out. But sorry,
they were probably pushing it because they know people that were in it or whatever. But also because, like I said, Baldur's Gate 3 coming out later this year from that studio. Really excited about that one too.
I'm really excited about it too because Baldur's Gate was a great fucking game.
Dude, I replayed Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 last year.
Oh yeah?
I bought them on Steam and I replayed them, and they're still really great, fun games. They still hold up, man. And actually, the Steam versions that you get are slightly updated with new content. Not slightly, I guess. They are updated with new content. So that was cool too. I'm wondering. The gameplay is cool. It's hard. It's interesting because it's turn by turn. So you don't just like in Baldur's Gate you set up your team members to do certain things, and then you hit the space bar and they go, and it's in real time, and then you can hit space bar again and it pauses it. You can change what they want to do. In this, it's turn by turn. So each character goes. One of your guys goes, and then villain goes, your guy, whatever. And so it's a little more like D&D, but it's like, it's more tactical that way, and it's definitely challenging. And there's several different challenge levels too. So you can, if you just want to play through the story, really, you can play like the easiest level. But if you want, you want a challenge, and then you got the nightmare levels and stuff like that. That was the thing I was looking at the Wolfenstein game. I played it on the normal level, on standard level. There were 2 levels higher of making it harder, and then there was at least like 1 level or making it like easier. And I'm just like, holy shit! I could only imagine playing it on like the nightmare level. That game was hard enough to start with, So, I'm trying to think of what else. I think I had something else.
Well, I got some other video game news.
All right,
that I saw.
Hit me.
So there's the new Avengers game that's
due
out in September.
Yeah,
that looks badass.
Oh yeah, I've heard some really great stuff about it.
Well, they're now announcing that if you buy the Avengers game for the PS4, you will get a free upgrade to the PS5 if you get the PS5, and that they already have that they're working on both versions of the game simultaneously, so that they will actually have it ready at release when the PS5 comes out, and that you will get the game for PS5. And they had some screen caps of the game of what they've worked on so far. It looks fucking amazing, dude. They like showed Hulk and just like, Argh! It looked badass.
See, that's man. See, I'm torn because I still have like a bunch of games to play, and I'm kind of trying to avoid buying any new games until I've gotten through a few more games, and man, but it's like, do I want to wait and wait for to get my PS5 before I get the Avengers game? But it could be a year from now before I get my PS5. You know, I don't plan on getting a PS5 at launch because you're always gonna wait. You wait for the second, maybe third round before let them get the bugs out and stuff. Now, granted, they have been working on this one a lot. It was kind of like, their beta test was the PS4. They're making a lot of changes and stuff, or they've been working on this one a lot. So I'd imagine that the PS5 is going to be pretty awesome out of the gate. But it could be a while before I end up getting one, and I don't know if I want to wait that long to play this game. So if it says free PS5 upgrade. Cool. Yeah, I might just have to get it. I think I just might have to get it, and then just get it again for the PS5, because it's definitely going to be one of those ones that I will replay. I think that is one I'll replay. And on top of it too, they're saying a lot of stuff about like the DLC that's going to be coming out, because they do have a lot of plans of putting out a lot of DLC for this game, like continuously adding more and more content to it. And from what I understood, originally they were saying that the content will be free. Like, they're just going to keep making stuff for it. So now I doubt that'll stay like that. They'll probably eventually charge for some of it, but I don't know. I'm really excited. Some of these images that I've seen, some of the video I've seen for the Avengers game, I think it's going to be the shit. Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome. Now, from what I understand too, it's also not the standard. It's not the mainstream Marvel universe. It is a separate. It's like a combination of the movie universe and the comic book universe kind of smushed together. So it's kind of mushed in a very tasty peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly kind of way. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
It's terrible. So that game is slated for September, I believe. So kind of right around the corner. So the solstice also. We had the solstice on Saturday. So we now are into summer. So we're happy.
The days are now getting shorter.
Yes, you won't notice it for quite a while. It is as by my clock, it is 20 after 9, and there's still daylight. So it's going to be a while before we're going to actually notice the sun going down a little bit more. But so hopefully everybody had a great solstice, and for those of you that partake of that particular religiosity, and welcome to summer, guys. Thankfully. Hopefully, hope you survive it.
Well, and I'll tell you what, it's sure fucking feeling like summer most of the days here. Today it cooled off some.
It cooled off.
It's been weird. Been like in the upper 80s and like right around 90 so much this year. I'm like, holy crap, it's been hot, and it's supposed to get back up to it like this weekend.
Yeah, it's been pretty well for me, in my opinion. It's been pretty seesaw. I mean, we'll get these 2 or 3 days of really hot weather, and then we'll get a day in the 70s.
Yeah, and I just actually read an article that they haven't gotten the official confirmation of the temperature, But
yeah, up on the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, there's a town in Russia in the Arctic Circle that recorded a 100.4 degree day.
Yeah, normally the highest
is 68
all year is 68.
Yeah, that's their normal high. That's their average high right now is 68, and they're saying they recorded 100.4.
That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Now, I mean, that's got to be, you know, a holy shit anomaly. I'd like to know what it was that could have created that.
Well, in reading the article, they said that the farther north you go or farther south you go, the greater the climate change is.
Ah.
So, like, around the equator, they're going to see the least amount of change due to climate change. But the farther north you go, the average over the main part of the planet is 1.4. It's gone up 1.4 degrees in like 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
The Arctic Circle north, it's gone up 3.5. So over double.
Wow. Okay.
What everywhere else in the world has. And they said part of that is that ice and snow is reflective. So it just reflects the light back up.
Okay.
So the more that the temperature goes up there, the more ice and snow melts. It then exposes rock and other ground covering, and which then absorbs the heat, makes it less reflective, which then causes the heat to go up to cause more snow melt, which causes more heat. So that's why that actually works like that.
Oh, it totally makes sense. Science!
Yeah. Science!
Oh.
I believe in science.
I do too. I worship at the Church of Science. Mm-hmm. So, okay, well, that's fucking frightening as well fucking get out.
It is. And I saw maps and they show like the heat patterns and stuff, and everything above the Arctic Circle is like red. It's really nuts. Scary.
Well, start figuring out how to turn your house into a boat. And, you know, invest in genetic engineering that give us all gills. I fucking right now, man. The world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh, hey, so this is a local thing here, at least, and I'm sure it happens in other places. But one of the other things that right now is it's fish fly season. I was over in the shores, and today I was driving through and saw them all over the sides of buildings and stuff. It's it is fish fly time.
Garody. Guys, for those of you guys who don't know, in this area, there is a time of the year when, fish flies hatch and will swarm, basically. And they live for 24 hours. They're basically just food for other animals.
They have no mouths.
They have no mouths, exactly. They are they're born,
they reproduce, they die,
and then they die, and that's it. And they basically they're fish food, and they're food for bats and other things,
birds and bats,
birds and stuff. And but yeah, they will completely cover a building. They'll cover they'll attach themselves to whatever, and it's they're actually a road hazard because they'll cover a street. And running over them creates like a slick, a goo. And
it's like being on ice.
Yeah, people will slide out because they spin out because they've run over.
I dated someone that lived
several million.
Yeah, I dated someone that lived in Grosse Pointe Park, and during fish fly season it was horrible. There was one time there was a mechanic. She was off of Mac, and there was a mechanic shop right across the street when you pulled out of her street, and there was a car that was parked out there that after about 3 days you couldn't see the car anymore. It was completely covered in fish flies. You would see them pooling in the lights, the street lights, because they would get inside and die, and you'd have pools, and the maintenance guys for the city would have to come by, open them up, dump them out, and close the light back up.
Lord.
Dude, actually, there's a place right over here by me. It's farther over towards the lake. It was a Dairy Boy, so it was like a Dairy Queen type of thing.
Sure.
It's now in Irma's because unfortunately the guy that owned it passed away a few years ago. But Renee and I actually went up there one time and to get ice cream. And the way they do it is, I mean, there's fish flies flying all over because it's in the evening, and that's when they really come out because they're attracted to the lights. And they take your order. They got the screens and everything like that. They take your order and you go over to get it. And the way that they take your money and everything, it's like open, grab, close, because they don't want any inside the building.
For sure. Yeah.
So they like open, throw ice cream out, close, type of thing. And we went and sat in the car and ate our ice cream, and we watched this because they were closing up right as we were like the last customers. We're sitting in the car eating our ice cream, and we watched the guy come out, and the whole one side of his building is covered in them. And he comes out with a leaf blower and just blows them all off the side of the building. I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. Like it's a great idea to use something that wasn't. It's not intended for that, but it works great for it. It's a new
Pure Michigan.
Yeah, pure Michigan.
I believe they actually have like a fish fly festival in parts of
Baltimore. New Baltimore has
New Baltimore.
Yeah, they have a fish fly festival every year.
Gross. It's fucking disgusting.
Well, it probably would have been last weekend actually, or this weekend coming up. But yeah, like Renee said, protein for lake life, nitrogen, and protein for soil.
Yeah. Well, circle of life, man. Just gotta do it. I wouldn't say that we shouldn't do that stuff, but man, I don't think they should get rid of them, but it's still kind of like, gross. I don't know. I think that's about it, right, Ed? Yeah, we're to wrap things up.
Yeah, pretty good. That's a good spot to wrap up, I think.
Well, and on fish flies, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome. Well, I will say one other thing. Renee and I have a new office. Well, we're still in the process of redoing the entire office. We both have new desks. They're really cool gaming desks. And we're getting a new table for in there for like the printer and stuff like that. But
cool.
It looks so much cooler now. Although we've got the computers up on the desks right now, and that actually adds a lot of heat into the room. So it's much warmer when we're both in there gaming.
I see. A little thing that as we're on the way out here.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, I made friends with. I was at the Youmacon, and I did makeup on a actress that one of the guests that was there. Her name's Lauren Landa, and she was a voiceover actress and whatnot. And she did a voice for Attack on Titan and wanted to be made up to look like one of the characters, look like a Titan. So I made her up, and there's pictures of it on my Facebook and stuff like that. And we became friends and kind of kept in contact. We keep in contact on Facebook. And she posted that she played her first D&D game, her first virtual D&D game, with something Storm. He's a voiceover actor and whatnot, and a mocap guy and actor. But he plays a lot of games with, specifically for under the D&D Beyond banner and Dungeons and Dragons. So when she mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, no, I know that guy's name. And I was like, and so I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, congratulations! Now I need to get your buddy Taliesin to get you a guest star, or to get you a guest spot on Critical Role. She mentioned this guy Taliesin when we were talking and hanging out. She mentioned talking about this guy, or friend of hers, Taliesin, who's a voiceover actor, and I was like, Taliesin, huh? That's a weird name. I never heard that name before. And then, a couple of years later, I get involved. Started watching Critical Role, and I went, holy shit! It's my friend Lauren's friend. Fuck. So, unfortunately, I don't believe she listens to our show, and so if she does, Lauren, call Taliesin, have him come on my show, please.
Get her on
or you, yeah, you. I would love to have her on the show. She's great. She's done the voices for like on one of the. I think she's Sailor Uranus in Sailor Moon. She's done Attack on Titan. She's on that new show Beastars on Netflix. she's done a bunch of voiceover stuff. So she's a real cool chick, real cool broad, nice lady. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us once again for another wonderful installment, number 183 here of Nerds with Alcohol. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us at all the places you can find quality podcasting. You can find us on iTunes, on the Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and of course you can download and stream all of our shows directly from nerdswithalcoholshow.com, as well as see the shows live here on Twitch, 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursday on YouTube.
Yeah, twitch.tv/drinkingnerds.
Exactly.
You can also follow us on the most of the social media sites. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, and we're also on Untapped, although I haven't been on there much lately. We just search for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we can get you added.
Absolutely. So, I don't know. Guys, check out, I posted some new pictures on my Facebook page, some body paint stuff, some more adult stuff, and a bunch of stuff from last year at the Michigan Ren Fair and this past year, 2020, at Tampa. I finally got up to updating all my
yeah, I'm like, wow, Russ is finally getting around to updating stuff.
Yeah, I just get lazy. Anyways,
no.
I'm so fucking lazy. I'm so tired. I'm so lazy. So I should be going back. I talked to my boss on Thursday. I should be going back to work fairly soon, within the next week or two. So that'll be great. Cool. I get off my butt back to being productive. So, I don't know. I guess on that note.
Until next time.
Slancha.
Well, that was pretty good.
That's a good one.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night!